Alright guys, so let's create a video API. For creating an API, first of course we need to create a domain object. So domain objects are basically can be think of as an objects that are very closer to the database. They are going to map into tables inside the database, right? And then we're going to have a database context that sort of talks to these domain objects and create data inside the database and able to retrieve data out of the database utilizing that context. And control is ultimately the topmost layer that utilizes the database context in order to get the data and post the data into the database. So let's start with the very first layer. It's a domain object, so essentially models. So what we're gonna do is we'll create a, just like we have a folder called controllers, we'll create a models folder, and inside this we can create all the objects we want. For example, this weather forecast object. For the weather forecast controller, we can push this inside the models folder, but I'm not gonna change that because we are trying to develop a different API. So inside that I can create a video object. As discussed in the last video, we are thinking about creating a video API. So let's see how video object is gonna look like. First we'll create a namespace. It's part of video API dot models. That is our folder name. And as an ORM, entity framework is what we are going to use. It's sort of a default ORM for .NET, EFCore for .NET Core. So people need to install a couple of dependencies for that. So I had it installed, but if you want to install it on your machine, the command is pretty straightforward. We do .NET tool install -g. -g is we are installing it globally, .NET EF, and that will install EFCore. And then we can obviously verify it by saying .NET EF version. Because you can see 803 is installed on my machine. This command didn't do much because I already have it installed on my machine. So once that is installed, we can install EF package. If you have a Windows machine, then it's obviously easier to do via NuGet package manager. I mean, this is also easy. I actually prefer this way these days. So to install a different another package for EFCore, we can do .NET add package Microsoft.entity framework core. Once we do that, I press enter. It's already installed on machines. You can see it says restored. That means it's already there. So that is the another package. And then the last package we have is add package. Let me clear that out so you can see. Last package we have Microsoft.entity framework core.design. We need that. And this is already installed, so we basically need to run these three commands. Install the EFCore, then the Microsoft Entity Framework framework code package, and then Entity Framework .design package. So these three packages we got installed on our machine. The reason we installed that because now we're going to use them inside our models. Microsoft Entity Framework Core. You can see it's VS Code is now suggesting it to me. Alright, so public class, we can say video is what we want. We just want a video object. So it can have a, it's going to have a primary key as an ID. I'm just going to make it integer for now, just to keep things simple. We're going to have a name. By name, I think title is more apt, so let's use title for the video. Similarly, let's see, I have a description of the video, and similarly we can have let's see, another field is the video is public or not, right? So that's more of a boolean, not a string. So that gets it. So these are mostly for properties of the video class. So as we talked about, we created a domain object that is video. Now let's create a database context. So I'll create another file inside models folder. I'll say video context.cs. Alright, so we have a video context.cs now. So inside video context.cs, we again say using Microsoft entity framework core namespace video API dot still models, and create a public class video context, and we utilize db context. We inherited from db context, which is EFCore class. Let's create a default constructor, and we say public db set. Db set is more like a set that takes in the query coming from the controller and send it to the database for on our behalf. Similarly, takes data out of the database, store it and send it to the controller on our behalf. So db set is that for us. So we're going to say we want a db set of video object, and we'll say videos. We'll just make it plural because we can have multiple of video objects in there. So we do that. Now the third layer is the last layer is the controller. So we need a controller to talk to context, right? Just like weather forecast controller. I'm going to create another controller called video controller.cs, right? So we have a video controller.cs. Inside here we can have using Microsoft dot sp netcore dot mpc, right? And say namespace video API dot controllers. All right, we'll create a class name, public class video controller base. All right, so and we'll just say since it's a controller, so we'll call it API controller. We annotate with that, and then we'll create a route so we can use it outside. I'll say controller. So that is generally we do it default. That's a default implementation. If we'll see weather forecast controller, that's what we have in here. That's what ASP the scaffolding generated for us when we created this project. So we did exactly the same thing on the video controller side. This is API controller, route controller, right? Now we are ready to utilize the context. So I can do private read only video context. You can see it's not picking it up because it's a different namespace. So let me pull it. We'll say using video API.models. If we do that, it'll probably start picking, maybe not yet. And that's fine, we'll just keep going with it. We'll create a video controller and sort of inject the dependencies like that. Okay. So there are two endpoints we want, right? We want HTTP GET and HTTP POST, very generic, but it'll be good to start with. So what HTTP GET will do is give us a collection of videos, right? Enumerable, and we can say we want the video objects, not API, just the video objects, and we'll just say get var video, and we'll say utilize this video context dot videos capital videos, if we go back to context, we have video context dot videos, right? So that's what I'm trying to access. So video context dot videos dot to list, right? Assuming we have like a lot of videos, so this is going to be a collection, right? And so I can just return this video object. So this is our HTTP GET, which should work ideally. So let's build our project .NET build. Alright, we see an error, video context, video APIs, namespace. Let's see, video context line number 9. Right here. I think IntelliSense populated the video API. We wanted a video object rather. Alright, so it built successfully. .NET run. Alright, so it's running right now. Let's click on this guy. We want Swagger. Okay, so we can see a video get endpoint just we have just created. Let's try it out. Execute. It doesn't work right now. It says unable to resolve video context. So we need to define this service on our side. So in order to do that, we'll go to the startup, and right here before the build we can add the service. So just like we have these service added, we can do builder dot services dot add db context video context options and we'll say options dot use in memory database. I will call the database video. Alright, so now I'm adding a service. I'm saying just recognize DB context and utilize in-memory database, so I can store things inside in-memory database. That's sort of a default in-memory database that that EFCore provides us. Let's see if I need to, let me save that, clear, .NET build again, .NET run, and DB context is called with configuration. Context video context. Alright, so I think it doesn't like that, so let me go to, I need so I've created this. I need another sort of parameterized constructor here, something like this, public video context that takes an option, right? I can create that and then I can define that to, let's see, DB context options, and that will take in a video context, and we'll just say this will do it. We'll just inherit from the DB context. So right here when we said add DB context to video context, so we wanted the video context to have that constructor, so that's why we needed that. So let's refresh, try it out, execute. Alright, so we can see successfully it came back. Since we don't have anything, so we see an empty string. So let's create another endpoint so we can post something into the database. Let's create HTTP post public. I'm just gonna do void for now. In next videos I can obviously change it up. So we'll do public void post, and video object is coming to us. So we can do var new video, and we'll say make the title of the video equals to video.title. I want description of the video to look like video.description, and I want to say if it's public is public to look like video is public, right? And that's it. These three fields are okay for now. And we say just add this new object, or I can, you know what I can do, maybe just let it keep it like that. We'll add this new object into the video context, and we'll just save the changes, save changes. So this is obviously necessary, that will actually save the changes in the database. So that's done. Let me stop that and run it again. And if I go to Swagger again, we see a new endpoint post video generated for us. Let's try it out. So let's say title, description, I'll just change it to false for now. So this got posted and we can see 200. Okay, so when we do get on it, we should get that back, right? So we can see ID generated, title, description false. Let's create another object just to test it out. New title, new description. I'm just not gonna send this guy now. Let's see what happens. So we got 200. Okay, now let's do get on it again. So get video, execute. So we see two objects coming back now, title and new title, and you can see ID is auto incrementing on each object. So this is a sort of a very basic implementation. We created two endpoint, get and post, and again I think the flow was, we have a database. In this case, we have in-memory database called video that coming in from EFCore. EFCore gives us this functionality, and we said, okay, create a video in-memory database for us, and we are using models to domain, which is essentially a domain object, to tell us how our object is going to be look like inside the database. So this is essentially a table inside the database called video. Video context is what we are utilizing, a DB set inside video context to retrieve and save our object into the database, and this is our controller. So pretty straightforward. Yeah, in next video obviously we are going to improve these endpoints and make them more the return time should be better and things like that. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much.